Hello my friends, cuties and ghouls, it is Heather, and for today's video I wanted to do something a little bit different and also something where I had the chance to interact with you guys. So I had my oh so lovely Instagram followers send me their ghost stories. So if you're not already, follow me on my Instagram so you can follow my life adventures and be a part of our spooky little community over there. So the reason I wanted to share your paranormal stories is because I feel like what I love the most about studying the paranormal is that so many people have experiences, and I feel like that's something that really connects so many people together. So many of us have had experiences in our childhood before we even knew what a ghost was, and nobody told us anything about ghosts. So I think it's a really fascinating phenomenon, and I also wanted to kind of show people that they're not alone and they're definitely not crazy by having these experiences. So I am going to go through my DMs now and read your ghost stories and just kind of give my thoughts on them. So let's do this. Alright, so the first experience comes from Ashley. And Ashley says, my ghost story happened 15 years ago, months after my dad passed away unexpectedly. I was washing dishes one evening when I felt a touch on my cheek as if a hand gently brushed it. There was no one else in the kitchen. There was a lot of strange things that happened in my childhood home. But in this instance, it was likely my dad just stopping by. First of all, Ashley, I'm so sorry for your loss. And I'm so happy though that you got to have an experience like that, so hopefully it gave you some comfort. I have heard of this happening. I know that I've personally had experiences where I know my grandmother came to visit me, and it was just kind of a gentle reminder that they are watching over us and that we will see them again someday. And I feel that on living in a childhood home where so many strange things happen, because that's what I went through, and that's the whole reason that I'm such a believer in this stuff, because of my childhood home. And I wish I can go back and investigate there someday because I have questions. So I really hope that you found comfort in that experience, and thank you so much for sharing your story with me. Alright, so this one comes from Bonbons and Books, and they said, so look at Holly Hotel on here. The place burnt down twice the same day. First was by the owner, and he had no idea, and a co-worker hostess died with him. I went to the place to make dinner reservations for my husband at the time in 2011. They don't open until noon. I waited, went shopping in town by stores, came back early, tried the door, it opened for me. Spooky. Normally there is a hostess that stands at a desk, and no one was around. I did hear a light laughter and talking. Said hello, but no reply. Then went to the second floor to find someone to help me. I scared a guy in the upstairs office. He goes, how did you get in here? It's locked. I said, no, it's open. He was startled, then says, can I help you? He made my dinner reservations downstairs. After that, he says the lady's ghost opened the door early for guests all the time. We laughed, then looked at her painting there. I got a chill. Then I left. He locked it back up. True story. Oh my gosh, that is seriously so funny though. That's a really cute one. I have heard stories of spirits doing things like stealing things and unlocking doors, so that's really interesting. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but either way, I'm glad that you had a fun experience, and seeing the lady's painting next to you, even better. Alright, so this next real ghost story comes from MensGothFashion on Instagram, and he said, here's a real ghost story for you. Ooh, I'm ready, I'm excited. I work as a medic for a rescue squad, and I used to run a ghost hunting team. Well, I was doing an investigation at another agency because weird things were going on, and they asked me to check it out. The agency used to do bingo every week a long time ago, and at one of them someone had a heart attack and quickly went into cardiac arrest. The members did what they could, and they had to stop as there was no signs of life. That's really sad. I was doing an EVP, and when I played it back the next day, you hear me ask, is there anyone here? And clear as day, help me. I played it back for the members and was told not to let new people hear so it wouldn't scare anyone away. Oh my goodness. Yeah, honestly, EVPs are my favorite evidence because I just feel like for me, that's been the thing that made me go, okay, something is seriously going on here. There have been EVPs that I have captured and that teams I've worked with have captured, and you just can't explain that away. I'm sure that there's going to be someone out there watching who can, but that kind of stuff just really gets me. If you guys haven't seen it, I do have a video on the channel of myself doing an EVP session if you want to see how that works and if you want to see the crazy stuff I captured that day. But it doesn't happen all the time. I just think I got extremely lucky that day. But definitely check out that video if you haven't seen it already. And thank you so much for sharing your real ghost story with me. That's a really cool one. So I believe that's all the submissions that we have for this week, and I want to thank everyone who sent a ghost story in. I am so appreciative. Thank you for allowing me to share this with our little community here. And if you would like to submit your ghost stories, follow me on my Instagram account and DM me them. I would love to share them here. So I'm going to finish off this video by sharing one of my own ghost stories. So years ago I shared this here, but I wanted to share it again because this is one of those stories that is so meaningful to me, and this is how I got interested in the paranormal. So whenever I was a kid, I was living at my grandmother's house, and so many weird things would happen there. I saw people all the time that weren't actually in the house, and I had all these crazy dreams, and I was so afraid to be by myself in the dark because of the people I was seeing that were talking to me. It was craziness. The first time I ever saw a ghost was whenever I was probably 3 or 4, and this is one of the most vivid memories of my life. So it was the middle of the night and I had to get up to use the potty. So my bedroom was at the top of the stairs, and every night whenever me and my grandma would go up the steps, I remember running for my life when the lights were off at the bottom of the stairs. I always felt like something was down there and it was going to get me. So the minute she turned off the lights, I would just run for my life up the stairs to the lit hallway. And maybe that's just a primal instinct to like not want to be in the dark alone whenever you're little, but I truly felt like something was there. Well, that night I stepped out of my room and I heard somebody talking to me at the foot of the stairs. And oh my gosh, I have goosebumps right now. So at the foot of the stairs, I looked down. I am covered in goosebumps right now. Whew. So at the bottom of the stairs, I see a figure that was darker than the dark, and they had like a static outline around them. Like you can see there was a difference between the figure and the darkness just by this little glowing outline, but they were definitely darker than the dark. I remember them speaking to me like telepathically, but I can't remember what exactly they said. I just remember being so afraid of this shadowy figure that I ran back to bed. I don't even think I went potty. I think I was like hiding and like crying under the covers. I was afraid of spirits for most of my life because I just didn't know what they were. Even into my teens, I was so afraid of them. And it wasn't until I began to understand them and actually take the time to research and to interact with them that I realized that they're really not something to be afraid of, and it's actually a pretty cool phenomenon. And that was my first shadow person, so super spooky. So the other ghost story I have is the one that I actually had validated by a family member, which is really cool. And I think that's just the best. Like when you have these experiences and you don't tell anybody, then finally you open up about it to someone and they validate your entire experience, and it's like you guys were just keeping the secret from each other all these years. So whenever I was little, there were some times where I would sleep in my grandma's room. So my grandma had this giant bed, and across from the bed she had this big vanity that had this big round mirror. So you can see like above her bed in this mirror. So as I was laying there one night, I was awoken to two people arguing. And I remember like tossing and turning, like just wanting them to shut up because I couldn't sleep. So I ended up looking across in the mirror, and my grandmother had these two religious paintings hanging above her bed. I think one was the Virgin Mary and one was Jesus. And the paintings were talking to each other and arguing with each other. And I thought this was totally normal because every time I slept in her room, I would get waken up by the paintings, or I would look in the mirror across and I could see them, like their lips were moving and they were talking, or the scenes on them were changing. And it was like the freakiest thing, but I didn't know any better. I just thought paintings talk to you. So it wasn't until I was like 17 that me and my grandma and my mom, what I missed the most about going over her house was we would all just sit in her living room and talk. I haven't seen my grandma since I was 17. Actually, even younger than that. I think I was like 16 when I saw my grandma last. And I just cherish those memories of her sitting in her living room talking about her life. And so one day, I can't remember what the subject was, but I finally opened up about how the paintings would talk to me when I was little. And she said, "Oh, they talk to me too." And I was like, "What? Like, why didn't anybody tell me this?" Like, I didn't tell anybody because I thought it was normal, and she just never told anybody because I guess she thought she would be seen as crazy. So it was just one of those moments that just blew my mind and made me think, okay, something really is going on here. So I just love stuff like that. I love having your experiences validated. That being said though, I don't investigate to have other people validate me. I do it for my own discovery and for my own curiosity. This is very much something that I do because I would like to know. And I feel like everyone just needs to see for themselves. Maybe you'll get into this stuff and nothing will happen. You won't ever capture any sort of evidence, or you'll have another explanation, and that's totally fine. I just think that it's good to be open-minded and to see for yourselves and then come up with your own beliefs. I would never tell anyone what to believe or what to feel or think. I think this is a very personal thing. Another reason why I'm so appreciative to all of you for sharing your experiences with us today. If you like this series and you want to hear more ghost stories, let me know by hitting that like button, and don't forget you can submit your stories on my Instagram page. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, do your very best to stay positive. And if you're not feeling positive, that's okay too. Just hang in there. You got this. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.